So if you guys didn't know, I spent a little bit of time, wrote a children's book. And basically, the basis for that is my kids kept bringing me the same book over and over to read, and I got bored of it. And so I was like, okay, if we're going to keep reading the same book over and over again, let's try to make it a book that I'm also going to be interested in. And I just didn't find too many books that I was interested in. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make one, and we'll see if my kids like it, you know? And if they don't like it, maybe somebody else's kids will like it. So I made a book. I had so much fun doing it that I was like, hey, I actually have some ideas for a few more. I want to keep doing it. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of go over the process with you guys, kind of what it looks like on my end, the things that I'm doing, and just show you first looks at the next book. Let me share my screen with you guys so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So this is the next one. It's S is for swords, and so are all the other letters. Now, you guys will see that this is just a Word doc. And yeah, that's what I started with. I actually didn't start with any images on here. These were added later. The first thing I did is I was like, oh man, there's so many different types of swords from so many different types of places. It'd be fun to try and make a whole alphabet book about swords. And sure enough, I was able to do it. And it was fun. I just started off with basically the alphabet. And I was like, okay, what is like a sword for every letter? I started, just coming up with things, Googling things, trying to find different swords. And in some cases, there were, a bunch of different swords. The letter I, there's a few different contenders for that one. I'm actually really happy with the one that we decided to go with that one. Another one, K, because there's actually a lot of really good swords for K. I know katana is like one of the most well-known types of swords, and people love the katana, but I wanted to also introduce people to some lesser-known swords, perhaps. I decided to go with the Khopesh, but also I really like the Kilij. Sad that one didn't make an appearance, but that's fine. This is just an opportunity to introduce people to more swords, which is fun, and it's an alphabet book. And so the way that this started is I just made a sword for every letter, and then, I took it around to a few people. It's like, hey, what do you think? And actually, funny enough, with the last book I made, there are some people that are like, hey, we wish that you would have told us more information about the swords. That's what I try to do, is add, little bits of information, keep it interesting, fun. There's, a little bit of sarcasm and dry humor in this. People can actually learn a little bit more. And then if they're interested, hopefully this is a good sort of like springboard to help them, do some research on their own, develop a hobby and spark curiosity, really. You always got to walk the line between adding something insightful, but also not cramming them down with too much information, because then at that point it's like not as suitable for kids, go back and forth, cut some things, add some things. This is not the final draft right here. So I did that, shared it with a few people, got their thoughts. Then after that, I basically went and added some reference pictures for my illustrator, because I wish I was super artistically talented. Like my brother, he's pretty artistic. A lot of my siblings are actually really artistic, but I am not. So I have an illustrator buddy who is helping me out. I gave them this. And then what he did after that is he actually sent me some cover images for the book. We got cover image 1, cover image 2, and cover image 3. Feel free to put down in the comments which one you like the most, because it's not too late to change. But I did actually put up a poll on my YouTube channel and ask people, hey, like, which one do you like the most? And I put these up here, and the overwhelming vote was actually for cover 1. So interested to see if you agree with that or not. This has been going on for a while. I guess if I had been solely devoted to making this book and nothing else, I probably could have gotten this done a lot faster, but I also have life and job and family and other things like that. So this is kind of just going on in the background, since the beginning of the year. I just actually got the first sketches of everything. And so you guys are getting a sneak peek at this, which is kind of fun, because what I want to do is when I provide this, I want it to be as historically accurate as possible. I wanted to give people good information. I was like, okay, if I just have the shopkeeper showing the sword and talking about the sword, then that's fine. I don't have to get too much into the history of it, the culture that was using it, the types of armor and time periods and everything that were going on. So part of me was like, okay, I don't necessarily want to get into all that, because I did do that on my last book. It was trying to get appropriate armor for time periods and things like that. So that way people could, look at it and see not only the sword, but the type of people using it and, what they would have looked like, and give you that full experience. I wasn't sure if I necessarily wanted to go that route again, because I also wanted the books to have a slightly different look to them. I just was like, hey, let's try and make it more sword focused, and we'll just have the shopkeeper show the sword, and so it's more sword focused. So that's what I did on this one. Again, gave it to beta readers, sent it around, and the, the overwhelming feedback that I got was, yeah, there's too much with the shopkeeper. Just having different swords isn't dynamic enough. Then I went back, did a whole bunch more research about the cultures that were using them, what they would have looked like, time periods, things like that, and gave some additional resources to my illustrator. And that's kind of where we're at now. So they're doing the second round of sketches. That's what's going on behind the scene right now. I'm really excited about it. Again, this is really just a passion project. I definitely spend more money making these books than I get back from them. And I'm totally fine with that, because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is I want to create like a sense of adventure and curiosity for my kids. I remember my childhood felt legendary because I remember my dad read me Lord of the Rings, which is incredible. And then we had the Lord of the Rings movies come out. We had video games. We had things like Harry Potter. We had the Aragon series. So we had all these like fun adventure stories coming out that as a kid you could read, and it was incredible. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've seen too much of that happen recently. I feel like the fantasy stuff coming out more recently have been catered more towards adult, which is fine too. Like fantasy for adults is great, but I also want to make sure that kids have the ability to experience all that funness. So yeah, I'm just trying to create something that can give some of that adventure to young minds. If you have kids or young nephews or nieces or whatever, hopefully they'll enjoy something like this. I'm excited for my kids to have it. Tried to walk that line of, teaching them, but also it being super enjoyable. Yeah, this is where we're at now, and hopefully it's only gonna get better and better. Yeah, stay tuned, but just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek and let you in on what's going on. Anyways, super appreciate you guys, especially if you stayed to the end, and I hope you have an incredible day.